Welcome to our shrewd agents and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, April 7th, 2022, and this is All the Leads podcast number 372, take two. We appreciate all of you who endured the technical issue last week. We apparently, if you're here, you realize we wasn't on our end. The conference company changed our call-in and codes. So if you made it here, you figured that out. Thank you. We had a great guest speaker last week who we pushed till next week, and I'll let Tim tease that a little bit. And we still have a ton of people coming on, Tim. So you want to talk for a minute, and then we'll get to the queue. Anything you want to cover, Tim?
Yeah, I just pretty much that. We had our friends from Probate Cash on last week, and we spent some time with them trying to talk over the background noise and all the folks that were on the call, and we were unable to do that because we weren't able to get anybody muted out, and it got worse and worse as the call went on, so we pulled the plug, and we came back this week and tested yesterday and today and all that. We were already planning to make some changes in terms of our tech, and just make sure that you pay close attention to the email that you'll be receiving from us about next week's call, because it is anticipated that we will change this again for next week, because we're anticipating changing our services, moving this over to a Zoom call, and we've been intending to do that for a while, so it just kind of pushed us to go get that done. And I think that's the key element here, is that things change, time moves on, and I think we have some things that we can do better, and in particular be able to do some better demonstration and some other things online using Zoom. So we're going to move to a video conferencing approach to this as well. That doesn't mean that if you're driving, you won't be able to still get online and talk with us, because or listen at least, and that's because you always have the ability to dial into a Zoom call without video as well. So we'll make sure we get that squared away and try to give you as much advance notice as we can. But next week we'll have the folks from Probate Cash back. I spoke with them before this call today, and they all are excited about coming back and spending some time with us next week. So with that said, that's what I have. I know everybody's here. It was a great month last month for us. I hope it was a great month for you. And we're off to a fine start this month in terms of new folks joining our team and growth and all that. We've had most of our, actually, everybody in our leadership group has been here this week in meetings, and we're doing some cool stuff coming up. So we'll keep you posted about that in the coming months. We've alluded to some of it in the past, and we've made some serious progress on it the last couple of weeks, and we're rocking. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Stick to it, Tim. And what's that expression? Necessity is the mother of invention. We've been planning on switching to a Zoom format for quite a while now. So I think the tech issues we've had with the conference company have necessitated that we do it sooner. And it'll either be next week or the week after. Coaches, anything you want to talk about? We do have a pretty good, I think we got 3 or 4 in the queue. Real quick, Bruce, anything you want to share?
Yeah, we're in another great month of trainings. I'm trying to add new training every month if possible. Of course, there's going to come a point when that leverages out. But this month specifically, for those of you that had intended to and hope to get into the Agent DNA series, I'm going to restart that. That's a series of about 6 different classes. The very first one is going to restart this month. So if you missed the first one last time and you haven't been in on that series of trainings, specifically for those of you that are kind of approaching your business like a small business owner with a service to offer, that especially designed for agents, but even investors, if you are approaching this with a service to offer, you're going to want to join that class, because it really kicks off the things that you absolutely have to get right, the ingredients that you need to focus on in your business if you're gonna scale, and hopefully you scale without leveraging yourself so much that you work 100 hours a week. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do that starting this month. We have a bunch of people that are already mid-series with that have gone through a couple of different classes. So if you want to get in, look at the email that I sent out a couple of days ago and register for that. If you did not see it, the support team has those links, and you can call and register.
Perfect. Chuck, anything you would like to share?
Yeah, I just want to share real quickly. During my morning reading, the focus of what I was reading was on uncertainty, which I think has kind of characterized a lot of what's happened over the past number of years, and even as we kick off quarter 2 here in 2022. And in the reading, and it relates to another call I had with a subscriber this morning during a coaching call / we were exploring the ISA program. They were very resistant to picking up the phone and dialing. They've got their marketing going out and on direct mail, on autopilot, and things are moving, but there's a bit of resistance to take action as it relates to they're uncertain about what it's going to be like. They got some responses, for example, on their first direct mail pieces that weren't the most pleasant, right? Phone calls to deal with. And that definitely happens because we don't know the emotional state of who we're going to be reaching out to and having conversations in order to see how we can help, as well as, structure a deal that's going to hit their strategy. But what I was reading was to embrace the excitement of uncertainty, and that will free up things to really build positive momentum in your business. The book I'm referring to is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. I definitely recommend that if you're into continuous improvement on your mindset, pick that book up. It's really fantastic. And how to tie that back to what it is we do here. We don't know exactly who's going to be on the list and who we're going to be talking to, but you would be robbing them of the opportunity of getting the help that they so desperately need to overcome the obstacles as they're settling in a state if we don't pick up the phone, if we don't send the direct mail. The way to succeed in this particular area, whether we're helping people that are already in probate or they're headed that direction to settle an estate inside or outside of probate, we need to give them the opportunity of how we help them with our services. So embrace the uncertainty and let's go. Let's go help some people.
All right. Well, that's a good segue. Let's go to our callers. We got this is the best attendance that we've had in months. I don't know if it's you guys missed us last week or you just came back to see to be entertained, but we appreciate everybody. We got a really great attendance. We have 3 in the queue already. There is room for more. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. And our first caller this week is phone number ending in 1109. You're up first.
Hey guys, Christian here. How are you guys doing today?
Great, Christian. How's it going?
Hey, Bruce.
And Jen.
Yes. So what I wanted to touch base on, actually, it's more something differently that I've been doing when I'm calling probate. So the last few deals that I've been negotiating with, sellers, I mean, I've lost them over maybe, $5,000, 10 to 15, which may seem a lot to wholesale, but in reality, it's not a lot if you want to get creative. And what I mean by that is, I'm negotiating a deal right now as we speak, doing owner financing. The seller wants a certain amount of price, and the market value on that property is like 180, 175, but they want 200,000 for it. And what I proposed to the seller was, this is just for my own personal investments. This is why I'm, mentioning this. I'm like, I'll give you your 200,000 if you're willing to do owner financing and meet my terms. They're like, we never really thought about that, but that may seem possible due to our condition, because they want to move out next year And I mean, there's more to it that has to be done in the back end with the attorneys, but that's another way to get creative to put it to win-win for everyone, because I've been losing deals over, that specifically, another one because, there's tenants and they're not cooperative and it goes off for auction. And I just want to get creative where it's attractive to everyone. And that's what I've been doing in my business, where it's kind of a win-win situation for me.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So many people look at just the cookie cutter deals, mainly, and it's not because they or you, in previous cases, Christian, didn't know how to structure anything differently. It's that you have to take a step back and be willing to look at it and think out of the box. And we all know that there's plenty of extra ways to do business. We just have to be willing to take that chance. And most people, and I'm not sure if this applies to you, Christian, I can't remember from our previous talks, but most people are scared to even propose an owner finance deal. They think that it's just they're going to get laughed at, and it's simply not true. You can easily propose an owner finance deal, and a lot of times make the seller more money by doing it that way. So congratulations, good job on taking that, making that adjustment that's needed.
Yeah, we did talk about that before. I was just looking at my previous deals and just going, I'm like, man, what could I have done differently where I could just, either A, hold on to it with no money down or close to nothing, or B, what could I have done differently? And it's been aggravating because sometimes it's just over a few $1,000s, and then just the sellers stop shopping you around with other, wholesalers. And before you know it, they tell you, oh yeah, I already signed another contract with another person and I'll keep you posted. It's just like, oh my God, what could I have done differently so I could have, made a deal happen. And that's why I took that approach recently, because like I said earlier, it's just, I don't want to lose another deal over something so silly that it can be a win-win situation for everyone.
Yep, absolutely.
And Christian, I was going to add, when you were saying that, it reminded me, I was coming down the interstate last week, and I'm sure every market has one of these right now. They're giant billboard of a realtor who says, guaranteed offer. We'll buy your house. If we don't sell it, we'll buy it. There's one of those in every market. Mm-hmm. And when I went by this time, her billboard, she had added something onto it that said, "Sell today, move tomorrow." And it just, and my wife and I were saying, I wonder what percentage of her total listings she actually buys. I would guess 0.1%. And how long does she actually how often does she let a seller close and stay in the home? Probably a very small percentage. But that type of marketing is becoming more prevalent. And I think when you offer that kind of a service, I think, number one, it kind of equates you with the big players that are doing the same thing, and it gets you in a conversation with them. And it's like probate. We say have all these contractors, and 90% of the time the people don't need any of them, but it's good to have.
Right.
It distinguishes you. It makes you look different. So having that extra tool in your toolbox and your arsenal, I think it gives you a lot more credibility. It gives you credibility of being maybe a bigger player than you might now be. And I mean, and a small percentage will accept that offer. You'll be able to do a deal that way. So I think that's a great strategy, and I think it's very timely with what's going on in a lot of markets across the country right now. So great job.
And what I want to do next is to take it to, go ahead.
I wanted to say that if you come in as a one-trick pony, whether it's the only option that you can offer somebody is either a listing contract, or if you're an investor, it's a cash offer and close quickly or on their timeline, you're leaving a lot of opportunity on the table. So kind of how I approach things in my particular business is we sit down and identify what are the goals for the personal representative on how they want to sell the estate, how they want to deal with all the different assets. We're definitely honing in on the real estate. And then we have that strategy session to identify what are their goals, and we lay out all the details and the options that would fit for them to achieve those goals, and then identify the pros and cons and really leave it up to them and not be so dependent on or linked to one particular outcome, just knowing that we're able to help them in a way that is that win-win situation that you were describing. So kudos to you, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's just sometimes it's hard to meet with sellers because some of them are out of state or they just don't feel comfortable yet. And it's just creating that rapport over the phone. I mean, it's doable, but it's not the same when it's face to face. So I agree on that 100%. What I was going to say, one thing that I'm going to do to take it to the next level, if once I find I'm able to lock up an owner finance type of deal, I'm going to wholesale that to an investor that's attracted to them. So that's another way to make money where, it's attractive to a wholesaler as well or an investor that's looking for, rental properties. So that's another thing that I want to add to my tools moving forward.
Good job, my friend. We appreciate you sharing. Anything, we got a full queue, but is there anything else we can help you with this week? Any other questions or issues?
No, that's it for now. That's just wanted to share my feedback of what I've been doing lately in this competitive market. But thank you for your time, guys.
Great info. Yeah, thanks for starting the call off strong. All right, next up is phone number ending in 6442. You're up next.
Yes, Bob calling from Florida. You already answered the first level of my question. That was the rescheduling of the probate cash advance. That's a very exciting topic. I'm looking forward to the reschedule event next week. But a side question to that event was under the situation where you do the what do you call that? The one-time reach out to the clients, and in that section it talks about a payment from the pre-probate cash of a flat $300. And I read in your other materials that it was a graduated schedule. And if I wanted to really aggressively go after developing a profit center under the probate cash, I need to know, is that a flat only $300 for the one level of ATL, or is it the graduated for everybody?
Tim?
Tim.
You want to take that, Tim?
Where'd Tim go?
I don't know.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, while we're waiting for Tim, Bobby, I wanted to again, your question is timely. Right before the call, one of our staff, one of our sales associates, Darcy, suggested that when I told her we're going to have the people on the next call, she suggested to tell everybody in the call, start thinking now of what questions you have like that and what questions you would like answered, and maybe even email them to us ahead of time. We still want you to come on the call and ask them, but I think we can. I think this is going to be a very popular topic. I think it's going to be a popular speaker. It may take up the whole hour, and so we can kind of tell him what kind of questions we know we have, and have him kind of prepare for the call that way. Tim, are you there, or did we lose you?
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm back.
Okay.
I was looking at the back end of the system, and I didn't hear your question. If you'd repeat it, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay, the short version is when you look under the cash or probate cash, there's a payment of $300, a flat fee. But on the other materials, they talk about if you don't do the what do you call it, the short version, it was a graduated scale beginning at $300, which is fair. But if you went to like a real large cash advance of $100,000, it graduates up in the payment. So I want to know if they're going to revise the payment schedule away from a cap of $300 on the pre-probate cash for the what do you call it?
I got your question.
The one-time program.
Yeah, I have your question. I understand now. So the answer is, and I think we said this, I think in the letter that went out, and you obviously are pointing out that we didn't update the web page on the form that's there. We in fact are and did go back to the probate cash people and renegotiate a better spread and a better comp plan for you guys, because the point was, they had started with a flat rate, and I think previously the folks they'd been working with, they're money people. They're not necessarily from our industry. They're money people, and they're putting money out on the street at good interest rates for them and providing great tools. And I don't think they thought that people would have the appetite and that sort of thing for larger amounts of money. And what we found in our initial experience was that, in fact, we had people out there that were looking to borrow a whole bunch of money, and so or not, get a cash advance with a whole bunch of money. And so we went back and said, look, if you're going to put that much out on the street, obviously your compensation is going to go up, so we need to make a better deal. And we'll roll out all the gritty details on the call next week. But yes, there is an accelerated payment schedule, so that as more money is advanced to your customers, you'll make more money as well. Hence the ability for you to basically not only get your leads paid, but I talked to one agent in a larger county, and he said, I've kind of done the math, and he said, I was going back to see how many of my people in my records, he's a very, very meticulous record keeper, how many of them actually asked about potentially, anybody had any money out? Would any of the contractors that, needed to get stuff built, would they wait to get paid on closing of the probate and all that? He said, this eliminates the ability to do that. And he said, it looked like to me, I had somewhere between 10 and 15% of my people that this might have applied to. And he said, given the math that's doing that, he said, the potential, I could make more money on pushing the cash advance program than I could on a lot of the transactions that I'm doing. And so I kind of laughed about that. And that's kind of one of the things that spurred us to go back and try to make a better deal. And we'll be excited to give you all the deets when we get back on the call next week.
That's a good answer, and that was my approach. I was going to look at this as a future profit center and really beat the drum using that as a lead offering. And in most things in real estate and mortgages, they are graduated tiered. They're not tied to a flat, little finder's fee type of thing. So if you're going to be an active promoter, I'm glad that the Probate Cash Advances addressed that with a graduated tier system, because I think that will open up us, our marketing to a much more aggressive stance.
Yep, it is. I just want to say one other thing, and I want to make this really clear. You and we are always being very careful to point out, and you need to stick to this, because we don't want to be in a situation where we are appearing to be doing something that we're not, and you need to make sure that we don't talk about these as loans. It is a cash advance. There is a legal difference between an advance and a loan, and so whenever you're referring to this, just make sure you refer to it as an advance, because it's always going to be something that the security for is the inheritance that's coming out of it, or the value of the property, or the value of the other assets that are in that inheritance. That's what they're lending against. The other thing that they may also be dealing with in terms of the advances that they're making are potentially other assets that could also act as collateral for the advance. So, and it's hard. I mean, I caught myself in the middle of telling you about that, calling it lending against. So I'm just saying, shape your conversation around advance.
I'm very sensitive to that. I'm a licensed lender and a licensed realtor, so I don't ever cross the line. But as a matter of fact, to me, the selling point of this whole proposition is the simplicity of it. You simply call it in advance and don't give any more details, because the site for Probate Cash does very well laying out the terminology, but it's really more or less a handoff. It's not really about selling the product. And you keep it as simple and simply call it in advance, and this, if it solves a problem, and then hand it off. You don't have to get into the weeds of trying to oversell it or over-explain it, and that way you don't get any hot water with arrest by all the rules about lending.
Absolutely. That's important, well, and you made a very good point. We're not you're not the lender, and all you're doing is handing it off to a third party that can potentially give them the funds that they need to get this done. The beauty of that is that, anything that needs to happen to that property, including, repairs that would take it to an ARV of a much higher rate, at that point become more affordable, because it's very often you talk to someone who's in probate and they go, we haven't got any money to fix this place up or do anything at all to it. We don't want to go do that. And there are just a lot of ways to get through this. And I think
it's a great solution. Great solution.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
And Bobby, just stating the obvious, if you do facilitate the cash advance and they use that money to increase the value of the property, you not only get paid there, but who do you think they're going to call when they're ready to sell the property?
Sure.
I mean, you provided
a back in for a refinance or a back in for a listing. I mean, that's said that a string of profitability there. That this just opens the door.
Yep. Amen. Well, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like you could sell this product already. You understand it better than anyone I've heard. So please come on the call next week and share your questions and your comments again. So we're looking forward to having them. We appreciate your feedback.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
All right. Next up is phone number ending in 3357. You're up next.
Hi, this is Christy. I'm an investor and agent in Jersey. I've been on your calls before. I actually have to jump off to go to a different call in a couple minutes. My question is quick. I have a offer accepted verbally from an off-market probate, and I set them up with an estate sale at the end of the month. And they don't have their letters of testamentary. So I kind of want to get the contract signed now so nobody comes in at the estate sale, et cetera. But, I know they can't legally sell until they get the letters. Can I have them sign the agreement, or what would you recommend I instruct them to do?
I would get it signed. Just realize it's not enforceable. But you can absolutely have them sign, and if somebody gets in their ear later and tells them, oh no, you shouldn't have signed, so be it. But at least you've got an emotional commitment from them at this point.
So how would you phrase that to them?
I would just say, hey, for this to for us to go to closing, you'll need your letters testamentary.
Right.
And that's all I'd say. I'd leave it at that.
Action thing. Okay.
Yeah, I was completely agree, Christy. I was going to say the same thing. I've done that many times. It's not illegal. It's just unenforceable. Kind of like a verbal contract. I'll buy your house. Okay, sold. Nothing illegal about that. Just you can't enforce it. So yeah, and there is always an element of when somebody signs something, whether it's enforceable or not, they feel more like they made a commitment. I think they're more likely to honor it than to go look elsewhere, or at least come back to you first.
That's kind of what I'm looking to do here. Exactly. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. 2 more in the queue, guys. We have room for more. Just hit *6 and hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 7545. You're up next.
Hey, guys. This is Richard in New York. Just want to ask a question. I got a couple of times so far. I'm being stumbled by, I'm not giving you any information. If you want information, call my lawyer. So, I can't, I couldn't proceed with that one. So I'm just wondering if I can
Richard,
get
I completely understand. Sounds like you've got a really great attorney.
Yes,
and who is that, Richard? Yeah? Who are you working with?
His name is Andrew Smith.
Okay, perfect. How far into the probate process have you made it?
I just received the letters about maybe a week ago.
Okay, so you still have a little bit of a ways to go. Well, listen, it sounds like he's taking care of all the legal stuff. In case you need an estate sale, a clean-out crew, me to send someone to cut the grass, anything like that, just let me know. And hey, before I give him a call, do you mind if I ask, are you guys going to be holding on to the real estate long-term that's in the estate, or is that something you guys will probably eventually sell?
Yeah, I don't want to speak anymore regarding the property or anything.
Okay, not a problem. Well, I will give your attorney a call. Is it okay if I drop something in the mail just so you have my information?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. Is the best address 123 Main Street?
Yeah, I'll get to me, correct.
Okay, And what's a good email address to send that to, just so you have another copy? All right, we'll break. I don't need to go any further down there. Okay? So everything's no problem, and when you ask those questions, just sound confident. Sound like it's completely normal. You do this every day. Hey, no problem. I deal with attorneys all the time. It sounds like you've got a good one. Who is that? And start asking questions and control that conversation. And if they keep pushing back on you, it's completely fine. Because they've already pushed back on you once. They may push a little bit more. Everything that you say has to just be, hey, no problem. Yeah, it needs to sound like this is what I do all the time.
Okay. Yeah, I try to validate their whatever it may be, skepticism or resistance. As far as you don't know me, I completely understand that. Another concern, I'm just. It's funny when you get on the phone, you really find out, a bunch of stuff. So I got another woman telling me, for example, so I asked her, are you selling your, is the property or the real estate in the estate? Are you guys leaning towards selling it? So she's like, no, we're keeping the real estate. I said, okay, that's great. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear you're staying in such and such place. I said, hey. Sometimes you guys change direction. Families change direction. They change their mind and they do want to sell in the future. So I'll get back to you on that. And, maybe I'll call you another month or so. So she said, no, that's not going to change. And she added something which I wasn't, it was caught by surprise. She says, no, my father is blind. He's not he's not going to move. Right there, I was like, wow, okay. Never heard that before. And so how would you have handled that? Because there's some sort of handicap or disability there when it comes to the surviving spouse.
Well, the first thing is your time frame that you're alluding to when you say something like that. Sometimes things change. Just in case it does, do you think I could call you in a month? That's kind of implying to them that they're going to change their mind really quickly, and it's giving them something that's easy to say no to. So it's very easy for them to say, no, don't call me in a month. So because you're kind of putting them in a corner. You're kind of making them commit to letting you call at a specific time. I want to keep them out of the corner because that's where they're going to resist. So before you ever get there, I would just say, hey, in case that changes down the road, maybe 5-10 years down the road, do you think I could send you some information? Maybe we could keep in touch at some point. Okay, much more passive, much more away off in the future. They don't feel like you're going to hound them. And normally at that point, they're going to say yes, because nobody knows what's going to happen in 5 years. A lot of us know what's going to happen in a month or two. So you're kind of shortening that time frame up too much. And just in case she said the same thing, no, he's definitely not going to go anywhere. He's blind. Okay, I completely understand. Not a problem. I wish you luck. In case anything changes, I probably will just sort of drop you something in the mail so that you know how to reach me in case anything ever happened in the future. Is that okay? All right. And normally the answer is yes. If somebody continues to push back, I have a two-time rule. If I've asked the same general question twice and they've given me the same resistance twice, I'm going to drop it. Okay. A lot of times, if you rephrase the initial request or question, they will soften, and they'll give you the response that you're looking for. But if they don't, if they continue, they double down on the resistance, it's time to drop it and just move on, and then just assume that you can call them again in 3 or 4 or 5 months, regardless of whether they gave you permission or not.
Got it.
And that's why I don't ask permission to call at a specific time, because I'm going to call anyway.
Okay, so you just phrase it as I'll get back with you, or how do you phrase that part?
No. I would just say, hey, can I, in case anything changes down the road, you think I could send you some information, maybe keep in touch. If they say, If they say, no, don't send me information, then I'm probably just going to circle back with them in several months. They're not going to remember me. It's not going to be a month later. But I never say, can I follow up in 2, 3, 4 weeks? I never ask that question, ever. Because normally they're going to say, no, that's okay. And they will remember in 3 weeks. If you call, they'll remember saying no before. But so I don't ask. I'm just going to follow up. If I feel like their timing probably isn't going to change in the next month, I'm probably going to follow up in 3 months. If I feel like it's a very fluid situation and their timing might change, I'll follow up in 3 weeks. It just depends on how I feel about their timing and their needs, and it depends on how emphatic they are with their resistance on the phone. There's absolutely nothing wrong with following up with someone. At least you know that they're the type of person that answers the phone. So if you got them on the phone one time, you're probably going to be able to get them on the phone another time, whether it's 3 weeks later, 3 months later, 6 months later. But don't say, can I follow up in 3 weeks? Because in my experience, most of the time you get a no. And I don't want to do something that they've specifically said, no, don't do that. So that's why I don't ask them a yes or a no question to the follow-up.
So when you follow up, do you reiterate, or do you start by saying that you spoke to them in the past?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Hey, I'm not sure if you remember me or not, but we talked a couple of months ago. I had a good conversation. I understand. I remember you said that your father was blind and was going to be staying in the house. Okay, and just kind of go on. Recap what you discussed.
Okay. All right. One more thing. I just realized, you guys provide me with emails. It's funny. I never really realized that till now. Now, can you actually, is that effective, sending emails at all?
I would ask for the email. So, hey, in case.
No, I'm sorry. Changes. What I meant, I'm sorry, Bruce. What I meant was, you guys ATL provides the email of, I think it's the person, the PR, but the thing is, I just actually discovered that. I just realized that after like 5 months of getting leads. I said, wait a minute, I didn't realize the emails were here. Now, what my question is, do those emails, are they, is that something you should actually get used to? Like, because I know this is like baking a cake. There's a lot of ingredients, a lot of different things you got to use in order to, either reach out or get people, influence people to reach out to you, whatever it may be. But are the emails effective at all? Have you ever heard of people getting like, good response from the emails you guys provide?
So I would want off email those addresses. You can take that, Tim. You can take that, Tim, from a quality standpoint. What I would do if I caught someone on the phone is I'd one-off email them to see if it was valid. It probably will be. But let me ask you, Richard, how many email addresses do you have?
Well, I get like average 200 leads a month. You figure I would have
but
like
how many email addresses you personally? How many email addresses do you personally have?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Well, I have one just for the probate leads, and then I have a personal one, and then I have a real estate one, a regular real estate.
Okay.
So I would just use one specific email.
You have fewer than I have. I have 7, and my emails would show up on a list. And it might not be one that I always use. So I don't want to mass email the email addresses that we attach to the leads. I'd rather use them as a one-off follow-up or an outreach if I haven't been able to get someone on the phone, or if they're not responding to mail. I'm usually going to send a one-off email instead of mass emailing. At least that way, if it bounces, I know that it's that individual address, and I'll just mark it off the list. So use emails, but I would probably use those after a couple of call attempts and a few letter attempts.
Got it.
And Tim, what do you have?
Yeah, I was just going to comment about the fact that we give you what we can turn up on everything that we find. And what I mean by that is that the quality of those leads, it is not coming in off of the docket from the court. It generally isn't available there, so it's not where it's coming from. So it's based on various different kinds of augmentation that we do, skip tracing that we do, all that sort of stuff, and we give you the best data that we can. It's there for you to use if you decide to take a whack at it. That's fine. It is certainly not the most reliable way to, and not definitely one you should rely on to get your message across. However, as Bruce said, the other thing I would make sure that I'm doing in anything that I'm talking to people about, I'm requesting their email address so that I can send them information and get them the data that you want to be sure that it's correct rather than, relying on the data that's coming out of the system. If I had to guess in terms of, it also is county by county different. There are counties where, that data is available a lot because there are a lot of things in that county that have previously requested people's email address, and some of the sourcing that we use to pull that data may have it. In a metro market, in a large urban market, I think it probably is a bit less reliable than it would be in a more rural market where there are less people, and it's just kind of a crapshoot to get that done. But that's why we give you that information. And we've been toying with an email marketing product, and I think the thing that we would do and what we will be doing if we put something like that out is more importantly helping you guys get the emails that you really need to do that, rather than relying on skip trace to pull some of that data down. So that was all I was going to get at, is that I don't think I would not be basing my business success on my ability to contact people via email, but it's a great way to do it. If you have their permission, now you can drip on them, and it's a very inexpensive way to contact them.
All right, thanks.
And I was going to add to, if I could add to that real quick, over the years we have had several agents tell us that they had some pretty good success emailing attorneys, and the one that really stands out was a guy in California who played with the subject line emailing attorneys, and what seemed to work for him was he would do an email merge, and in the headline he would just reference the probate case number. So an attorney gets an email regarding the subject line says regarding probate case number 78246B. They tend to get opened and read. And again, I like Tim said, I wouldn't spend a lot of time and effort on it, but I know several subscribers have had pretty good success establishing relationships with attorneys via email, and I suspect their emails are going to probably be a little more considerably more accurate than the subscribers. Would you agree with that, Tim?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you just asked if we'd ever heard of it. As far as go ahead, Chuck.
No, I'm sorry. No, I was going to just add something. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I thought that was Chuck. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay, no, I was just going to add that I did reach, just because you guys are really good with your phone numbers. I reached one guy. He says, hey, look, I've been getting calls from about 25 people, but you're the only one that called me on both my numbers. So that's why I'm calling you back.
Good.
I started laughing.
Good.
I said, oh, ATL is not playing around. So I just wanted to end my call or my questions with that. That was terrific.
Oh, that's great. When I was prospected, I used to get that. I would either go with, depending on their attitude, with the humorous approach, like I would tell you, but then I'd have to kill you, or I'd say, well, hey, would you even want to deal with somebody who didn't know how to find you? Doesn't that tell you that I'm the right person to sell your home? Either one is good. When they're acknowledging that you're different, capitalize on that and tell them they want somebody who's different. They don't want somebody just like all the other agents out there. All right, good stuff. We appreciate it. All right, we appreciate it. We have one more in the queue, guys. We probably have room for one or two more. I'm going to leave the queue open for about another 5 minutes, so jump in there now. Hit *6 and hit 1. In the meantime, last one in the queue for now is phone number ending in 6394. You're up next.
Hi there. This is Alan from Boston, Massachusetts. I just had a brief question. Yeah, I'm both an attorney and an investor, not a probate attorney. And my first question was I got in a little late because of the different number today, so I just wanted to double check the guest's name, and there was a recommended book you were just finishing up when I jumped in on the call. Could I just briefly get those two?
Yep.
Yeah,
that was me, Coach Chuck. Yep, that was Coach Chuck. The book was what was it again? The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success, or the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. There you go. You have to reorder all the, It's a short, small book. It's definitely highly recommended.
Okay, terrific. And I think I got the guest's first name, which was Bruce. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'm on here.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was just wondering if I could just get your full name. I just wanted to, follow up with you afterward.
Sure. Yeah, it's Bruce Hill. And if you need me, email bruce@alltheleads.com.
Oh, great.
Just to clarify, Bruce is our coach. He's a guest every week. So he's not a guest.
I've been a guest for 2.5 years.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, you can see I haven't been on the calls for a little while. So I just had one quick question regarding a situation I have with a probate case that I'm following up. I was able to skip trace a family member who's one of 3 that stand to inherit this property, and has basically more or less been speaking for his other 2 siblings that they do want to sell once it clears probate. The problem is it's still lingering in the court system. I contact him maybe once or twice a month so I don't overdo it. And if I don't call him, I text him, and he's always very responsive. But it's still in the system, nothing new, just check back in the near future. So I'm in this ongoing, compatible conversation, but I just don't want to be calling a day or, a week too late. So obviously it's coming to a head now sooner than later. Any recommendations on how I can ramp up the contact without wearing out my welcome? It's been fine up till now. I've asked and offered other services, including getting in touch with the probate attorney directly to see if I could be of help. But so far that's been thanks but no thanks as a response. So I'm sort of stuck in almost a holding pattern, but there is good ongoing dialogue. It's just every couple of weeks or 3 weeks.
Have you been to the house?
Yes, the house is local. It's north of Boston. I go by it all the time. There's no activity, zero activity, so it's not like things are happening that I'm not aware of and not being told about. So, and he's out of state actually, so it's actually no, not physically. No, he was back once for the holidays, I think Thanksgiving or Christmas, but no physical contact.
So, 2 different approaches that I would take. Number 1 is I'd probably drop them a letter or 2 of things that they should do, and most likely I'd personalize these a little bit. So, hey, I realize I'm probably calling you. I realize I'm calling you a lot. I thought maybe this would be helpful. Here's about 3 or 4 things that most people mistakenly ignore while they're waiting on the courts to process the probate. You want to do a clean-out crew, here's the name of a clean-out crew that I like. You want to do an estate sale, here's the name of an estate sale company that I like. If you need landscaping, here's this person. So provide them a letter like that with some value and some direction. And then make sure that they know in that letter, hey, look, you might already have this done. I don't know. I thought I'd just pass this information along. As I've mentioned before, I'm happy to coordinate this stuff for you if you need it. If you want to do it yourself, here are my vendors. Okay. And then on a phone call, and no, you're not ready to sell the house yet. You're still in the probate process. Do you think maybe I could shoot you an offer that might change a little bit before you, by the time you get everything wrapped up? But would it be okay with you if I shot you an offer so that you knew what I was looking at? And then when he says yes, Do you think I could swing by there? Is there a way that I could get inside with someone in the next week just so I can make it accurate? And you know what? He might say no, but at least this is a slightly different angle of attack. So I know you're not ready yet. When you are, so could I shoot you an offer so that when you are ready, you kind of know what you're looking at?
Okay.
And then
great.
If it's a yes, then try to just say, hey, okay, perfect. I'll drive by. Is there any chance I could take a quick peek inside? And again, I know you're not ready yet, so make sure that you're emphasizing that this isn't a manipulation tactic.
Okay, great. And is there any need, or would it add value, or would it tend to do some harm to the existing relationship if I try to go directly to the probate attorney?
Well,
I'm not sure that it adds anything that I don't already have. So.
I would go to the attorney, but I wouldn't go on this specific case. You don't want someone who you have some rapport with, who is being friendly. You don't want them feeling like you went around them.
Exactly.
So I would, I would still go to the attorney, but I would not do it on I wouldn't put this client and their property front and center to the attorney.
Okay, that's a good idea. So just a general outreach, but not on this specific probate matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen Mr. or Mrs. Attorney. I've seen your name on quite a few people that I'm in communication with and working with. I thought maybe it would be a good opportunity to kind of establish a little bit of a relationship so that we could help each other in the future.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Outstanding.
All right. Thank you, sir. And we have one more in the queue. That'll bring us nicely up to the top of the hour. Last caller this week is phone number ending in 6895. You're up next and last.
Hi, all. How are you guys?
Great. Do we save the best for last?
You saved the best for last. I'm actually, I'm very new to the probate world, but I'm extremely interested. And I guess now you all have a Facebook group from what I'm understanding. There is a Facebook community? Okay. I am actually hopeful to kind of find an accountability partner.
Sure.
I don't know if that's something that you all can help out with, but accountability and kind of like, I know that you all have kind of communicated that scripting is not necessarily something that we do rather have conversation, but I guess I want to say I am interested in having a conversation partner.
Great.
Sure.
There are quite a few people, including someone earlier on this call. I'm not going to name names, but just know that there are a bunch of people that do accountability and role play, and that most of them found each other in the All the Leads Mastermind group. So it's not the All the Leads Facebook page that you click like. It's the actual Mastermind group that you join. And there are a bunch of people in there that do that. And a lot of them are using the Foundation's dialogue technique, which has plenty of scripts in it. I don't want to say, here's your 2-page script that you're going to follow verbatim every time, but there's nothing wrong with scripts as long as they're kind of plug and play. So jump on there, put your request out. You're going to find a few people that'll maybe even have a group already that role plays and holds each other accountable.
Okay, awesome. Now you said it is not the Facebook page that you like. Is that correct?
That's right.
I'm on Facebook.
So if you're on Facebook, it's All the Leads Mastermind.
Okay, gotcha. Because I see All the Leads, not All the Leads Mastermind. So I need to be looking for All the Leads Mastermind. Okay.
Yeah, and just type the word Mastermind in. It'll pop up.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Great call, guys. It was worth 2 weeks to wait for. We had great attendance. Don't forget to come on next week. Please watch for notices. If we do switch this to a Zoom call, we'll try to give you more than a day's notice next week. But please have a heads up for that. To recap Darcy's idea, if you want to send us questions ahead of time for the probate advance people next week, or for the cash advance people, not probate, you can send that to support@alltheleads.com. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for hanging in there, for finding us at this new number. I want to particularly thank the 5 or 6 people who actively participated. And I want to challenge each of you, take one thought, one idea, one thing that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thanks for being here. Have a great week. We'll talk to you same time next week, everybody. Take care.